Travis leaned back in his chair, a strange smile on his face, like he was proud of something. "I've been living a double life for 10 years, he said, as if he were sharing a clever secret. 2 wives, 2 families, I pulled it off pretty well, don't you think?" In front of us, the anniversary dinner I had spent hours preparing sat untouched. The candles flickered gently, the roast was still hot. I had been married to this man for 20 years, I had believed in us, in what we had built, and now, in the middle of what should have been a celebration, he was telling me my life was a lie. He was confessing like it was no big deal, like he was proud. I set my wine glass down slowly, trying not to show how much my hands were shaking. I kept my face calm, like I'd learned to do during tough meetings with difficult clients. I'd built a career in public relations, managing disasters for other people. Now I was in the middle of my own, and I had no plan. "How interesting," I said, keeping my voice level, even though my chest felt tight and my stomach was in knots. Travis laughed, as if he thought my calm reaction was amusing. "That's what I've always liked about you, Jade," he said. "You're so in control. If it were Caroline, she'd be screaming and throwing things by now." Caroline, she had a name, she was real, not just a fling or a mistake, she was his other wife. "I'm Jade Wilson, I'm 47 years old, I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I've worked hard to build a life I thought was stable and meaningful. I wanted a quiet, respectful marriage. I wasn't asking for fireworks, just honesty, loyalty, and someone to grow old with. But the man I had spent 20 years with wasn't who I thought he was. He wasn't even close." "They live in Oregon," he went on, like we were catching up over coffee. "Eugene, it's a beautiful town. Caroline teaches kindergarten. The kids are 9 and 7. Kids, he had children with this woman, 2 of them." My heart felt like it had stopped. I thought about all the conversations we'd had over the years, about not having children, about focusing on our careers instead. He said he didn't want to be a father, that he wasn't built for it, but he had been a father this whole time, just not with me. "I usually tell her I'm on business trips when I'm here," he said, pouring himself more wine, "and when I'm with them, you think I'm at a conference or working late." I sat there, listening to him explain how he had lied to me, to both of us, for a decade. Every work trip, every missed holiday, every excuse I had accepted without question, it was all part of a plan. And somehow, he thought I would just take it. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. I was surprised at how calm I sounded. He shrugged, as if the answer was obvious. "It's getting harder to manage. Caroline wants more from me. The kids are starting to ask questions. It's a lot, keeping everything separate. I'm tired." I stared at him, trying to understand what he was saying. He wasn't here to ask for forgiveness. He wasn't leaving her for me, or me for her. He was just trying to make things easier, for himself. "So, what happens now?" I asked, even though I was afraid of what he might say. "Nothing changes," he said, like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. "This is still my home too. I have a life here. I'm not walking away from it." There it was. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't even conflicted. He just wanted me to accept it. He wanted to keep everything going, the lies, the double life, and now he expected me to play along. As he kept talking, telling me more about the other life he had built, I noticed something that chilled me to the bone. He wasn't ashamed. He wasn't even nervous. His voice was full of pride, like he thought he had outsmarted the world. Travis didn't think he'd lose me. He didn't think there'd be consequences. And that's when I knew, this wasn't over, not even close. Whatever was coming next, it was going to be worse than anything I could imagine. "Reputation. Are you threatening me?" I asked quietly, though deep down I already knew the answer. Travis gave me that smooth, smug smile of his. "I'm just saying we should look for a solution that works for both of us," he said, "instead of tearing each other apart. I'll be in Eugene until next Tuesday. That gives you some time to think things over." He turned back to his laptop like he hadn't just flipped my life upside down. I stood there in the room that used to feel like ours and realized something horrifying. Travis wasn't just refusing to leave. He was warning me, if I went through with a divorce, he would ruin my career. That night, after he went to bed, I sat in the dark with my laptop glowing in front of me. I started searching for divorce attorneys, specifically ones who handled complicated, messy cases. While scrolling through websites, a notification popped up. Travis had booked a flight to Eugene. He'd be gone for 5 days. 5 days, that was all the time I had to make a plan. The next morning, as soon as he left, I met with a lawyer named Elena Voss. Her office was calm, quiet, and professional, nothing flashy, but everything about it felt serious. She listened without interrupting as I told her everything Travis had confessed. Bigamy is both a civil and criminal offense, she said when I finished. Even if he's not legally married to this woman in Oregon, he's still committed fraud against both of you. He told me if I try to divorce him, he'll destroy my reputation, I said softly. Her jaw tightened. So he's adding blackmail to the list. He's bold, but that can be used against him. We need to start gathering evidence, emails, financial documents, anything that shows the double life, the threats, the money trails. You mentioned the house and the mortgage. We'll need a forensic accountant to dig into that. The next 2 days, I barely slept. I printed bank statements, found old emails, and went through every file we had. What I found made me feel sick. Travis had been stealing from me, not in big amounts, but little by little over years, transferring money into an account I never knew about. He had taken out a second mortgage on our house without telling me, using a fake signature. The money, more than $175,000, was gone. I had no idea where it went. My hands were shaking when I called Elena. I sent her everything. This is financial fraud, she confirmed after reading through the documents. This changes everything. We need to act now to protect your credit, your savings, and your home. Following her advice, I froze all our joint bank accounts. I contacted the bank about the fraudulent mortgage. I even put a fraud alert on my credit with all the major bureaus. But the biggest shock came that evening. I was searching Travis's desk for more documents when I found a small locked drawer. Inside were several IDs, driver's licenses, credit cards, even a passport. They all had his picture, but none of them had his real name. Each one was tied to a different identity. I stared at the documents, heart pounding. This wasn't just about having another wife. Travis had multiple lives, multiple names. He wasn't just a liar, he was something else entirely. The next morning, I met with Elena again. I showed her what I found. This isn't just a divorce case anymore, she said, her voice serious. We need to bring in law enforcement. These are federal crimes, identity theft, fraud, possibly even money laundering. Later that afternoon, I sat across from an FBI agent named Simmons. He listened carefully as I explained everything, then took copies of the documents. We've seen people like this before, he said. They lead double or triple lives, often for financial gain. They get very good at lying. What happens now? I asked. We open an investigation. It'll take time. We'll gather evidence, work with authorities in Oregon, and build a case. In the meantime, you need to be careful. Your husband will find out about the frozen accounts soon. Almost like clockwork, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Travis. What the hell have you done? Accounts frozen. Call me immediately. I showed the message to Agent Simmons. He's flying back tomorrow. We're not ready to move yet, she admitted. We need a few more days. If he thinks he's being investigated, he might run, or destroy evidence. You want me to act normal? I asked. Pretend I don't know anything? Yes, just until we have what we need. The idea of playing along made my stomach turn. I was being asked to lie, to the man who had lied to me for years, to look him in the eyes and pretend everything was fine, when in reality, my entire world had been shattered. I'll try, I said, though I didn't know how I would do it. After Agent Simmons left, I walked through the house like I was seeing it for the first time. The framed wedding photo on the mantel, the anniversary cards, the souvenirs from trips we took together. Everything looked normal, but it wasn't real, not anymore. In our bedroom, I opened Travis's closet. His shirts were neatly arranged, perfectly spaced, color-coded. That was Travis, careful, precise, methodical, and now I understood why. Living a double, or triple, life required constant control. The man I had loved for 20 years was not who I thought he was. He was a mask, a performance, and now he was coming home, expecting me to play my part too. I sat down on the bed, numb. How many memories were real? Had he ever truly loved me, or was I just part of his cover story, a believable wife for a man who was hiding everything? Tomorrow, he would return, and I would have to face him, knowing everything.